Good morning. How are you? It's Made in the Morning here on Alive 107.3. This coming Sunday, the stars of Impact Wrestling return to pay-per-view. They return to Fight TV live from the Rebel Entertainment Complex in Toronto. Impact Wrestling Rebellion will take place, and it is truly a stacked card. Now, we know following injury, Josh Alexander, he's had to vacate the Impact title. A new world champion will be crowned. Will it be Steve Macklin or Kushida? The X Division title going to be decided in an elimination match. Trey Miguel defending against Jonathan Gresham, Speedball Mike Bailey. The Death Dolls, they look to get their Knockouts title back from the Coven. The DOA, Director of Authority Santino Marella, steps back into the ring, teaming with Dirty Dango, and the Digital Media Champion Joe Hendry taking on the Design. The Motor City Machine Guns, my guys, looking to reclaim the Impact Tag Team titles, going against the Bullet Club in an Ultimate X match. And there's no other way to describe it, a hardcore war as Team Bully take on Team Dreamer. And speaking of Team Dreamer, now you know me, I often speak my mind, and I think there are far too many times that people in the world, especially when it comes to sport, throw around the word legend. However, when it comes to professional wrestling, Tommy Dreamer, in my mind, is truly deserving of that moniker. He's been in this industry for 30 years, and he's been so influential both in and out of the ring. Wherever he goes, he is one to watch, always delivers. And I'm delighted to say he joins me right now on Made in the Morning. Good morning, Tommy. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you for that intro, and thank you for having me. It's early morning, but I'm feeling fresh and happy to be talking to all my mates out there in the UK. I miss you guys. I haven't seen you in a long time. I haven't performed in front of you in a long time. When I would tour there with WWE, God, I loved it. We would go on those long tours, and the fans would be at the hotels, and I miss you guys, and I'm looking to make my return one day, but you're going to have to wait. But until then, you get to see me on Fight. And I'm happy that, since the world has opened up, the UK is getting their love. We had the big announcements with, AEW coming into town, WWE is coming in town. But guess what? On, Friday, you're going to have Tommy Dreamer coming to your television. But it's great. You guys have been the most passionate wrestling fan base forever, and I truly love you for it.
Tommy, we love you over here. It's great. And I think, here in the UK, you mentioned AEW, you mentioned WWE, but for so many of us that are my age, they're late 30s going into their 40s, really, they rediscovered wrestling
Right.
with Impact Wrestling. It was shown over here, first off in the UK on a network called Bravo. Then it switched to Challenge, and now it's on streaming, which is fantastic. But we grew up, we fell in love again with Impact Wrestling, and that is very much our promotion. It's got the
Yep.
guys and the performers that we know, that we love, people like yourself, people that originally made us fall in love with wrestling. And I hope you didn't mind me mentioning there in that intro, I mean, 30 years this year you've been in professional wrestling. Is my maths right on that?
No, it's actually 33 years. I started in 1989. And listen, man, I'm blessed. I've been on television since I was 21. I'm 52 now, so I've been on television straight for 30 years. There's not been one year. John Cena had his streak of never missing a match on Raw. I've been on television at least once a year for the last 30 years. It's been a hell of a run. I want to always give shout outs and love to one, Paul Heyman for believing me, Mick Foley for always helping me, and Terry Funk. I think about what Terry Funk did because I'm becoming his age now, and hanging with Terry Funk back in the day, hanging with a Sabu, a Rob Van Dam, tagging with me, Shane Douglas, the list goes on, Chris Candido. And I don't know what he felt like he was 55 and doing moonsaults to the floor. So I still got 3 years before I have to bust out my moonsault to the floor, and God help the men who have to be under that. But I sit and on air, I'm very, very, I don't feel pain. I'm very, very blessed. I hurt after I wrestled. The recovery time as you've gotten older is like, wow, like what the hell was that man thinking, like, or feeling? The only time I'm in pain, and that's a big reason why, like at times, like with the UK, like I just got back from LA, those flights, every time I get on an airplane, I legit retire. I was like, I don't know if I could do this anymore because I feel everything and I don't want to live a life of pain. When I don't have regrets, but like I just saw like Mickey James,
Mhm.
she's hurt and she's fighting her hardest to make sure she could either be in the match or she has to give up the title. And at the last tapings where Mickey was hurt, she wasn't sure, but she was just like, she's such a trooper. And her son, who's been at the tapings since about 1 o'clock, and it's now at 11 o'clock at night, and she's like he wanted his mother to pick her up, and he's like, hug, like, carry me, mom, and she's like, I can't, and she's like, you got to hold mommy's hand. And dude, I remember those same things with my girls. I have twin daughters, and now my daughters are 19. Number one, they don't want me to pick them up and carry them to your room, but it's those moments missed. uh it's different, but like it's just like, I also, like, one day I hope to have grandkids, and I want to be able to hold them up and carry them up. And again, living in pain is not something that any of us want to do. I mean, I broke my neck, I've broken my back. I wake up some mornings and I say it's the Terry Funk I pooped my pants walk, and it's just like, oh, I'm struggling to the bathroom. And then by the time it's the evolution of man, I'm standing upright. But when I get off a plane, or when I'm on that plane, seriously, I cry sometimes because I'm in so much pain. My knees lock up, even when I'm in first class. So it's I have no regrets. And if I had to do my career over again, I would do it pretty much exactly the same. Every bump I take is worth it. I work hard, not only for myself but for the fans, because I know they paid their money, and I love it. I know that I'm on the tail end of my career, and I've been blessed to do it for this long. And I know one day I'm going to take a bump, and I won't be able to get up anymore. Or the next morning, it's just like, I can't do this to myself anymore. And it's going to be the hardest thing. I talked to Terry Funk. I haven't talked to him in about a month. I called him at WrestleMania. He hasn't returned my call. Where's the heat, Terry? But the things that he say to me that at times breaks my heart. He'd be like, I miss it so much. And I was like, Terry, I could get you booked, or if you want. And he's like, I can't travel anymore. And he's been doing, I mean, he's a second generation wrestler. His father died after a wrestling match. And he's just like, I miss the boys. I miss the locker rooms. I miss being around the fans. And there's people who ask me all the time, hey, can you get me in touch with Terry Funk? But he's just like, I miss it so much because I can't do it anymore. And I'm like, God, he's given so much to this industry, so much to this business. Like, and I was like, hey man, I'll get a bus. I'll get whatever you want. It's just like, I just can't take those miles anymore. And he has no regrets, because he'll then go right in there and he'll tell me what's going on in Impact. He'll tell me what's going on in WWE. He'll tell me what's going on in AEW, because that's how he sits, and he could still be a part of it. So it's a beautiful, blessed business. We're going to see a hardcore war. I'm going to probably go very, very old school and watch what people grew up watching this guy named the Innovator Von's Tommy Dreamer do. I wasn't, I feel the word violence is a negative term, and I kind of started asking people not to call me that. But Bully likes to pull badness out of people. And for one last night, he's going to get, not saying that I never may bring it out again, but he's going to get that guy. Because when I walk out there, when my music hits and I hear those people, I'm telling you, I'm 25 years old again. And I try to go all out. When I go back through that curtain and that thing called adrenaline leaves, I'm every bit 52. Sometimes I'm 152. But I'll never forget Terry Funk's speech. And I know he stole it from somebody, but he was just like, when a man is covered in sweat and blood and dirt, and it's all about that hard work. And at the end of the day, that hard work pays off. And everything I have in my life is because of professional wrestling. My two girls that I talk about, I met their mother in professional wrestling. Again, blessed beyond, and blessed to be performing in front of, the fans at, Impact Wrestling. I was, WrestleMania just passed. I was that kid. I was at WrestleMania 1. There's two wrestlers who were at WrestleMania 1 that went on to work WrestleMania. That's me and little Guido. And I'll never forget that excitement. I never forget going up that escalator, like standing next to my dad and just being like, God, like to cut the energy with a knife. And when I walk out there and I see little kids or even, grown ass men putting their hand out to shake it, or people cheering me on, because I was that kid. And if there's anybody who ever says you can't do something in life, look at this overweight, balding guy who's got weird hair now, that I had more doors and more people told me that I couldn't do it, but I followed my dream, and my dream was in professional wrestling. There's people whose dreams are different, but you can always achieve your dream, and you're going to get it through hard work. And that's the best way to do it. I don't know your dream, sir, but I'm sure you liked being a broadcaster or had interest in this.
Very
Guess
much
what?
so.
You're living your dream, and God bless you for it. Was it easy to get?
No.
You paid your
Far
dues, you
from it.
worked hard. And as a fan of mine, did you ever sit back and say, God, I'd love to interview that guy?
Yes.
And I'm sure you've had it with other people. And just think of how blessed you are today.
Mhm.
And we all woke up today.
Yeah.
Maximize your day, because it's a beautiful thing. I think of, like, why I say I miss the UK. I couldn't go there. Nobody could travel. And I think of those days where I never thought the world would shut down. And the beauty of Impact Wrestling was the only company that had brand new content out there. And then the other beauty of professional wrestling, the world shut down, but pro wrestling didn't. And then every sport adapted through what? Professional wrestling. No fans, cool. Then video screens, then, all these little things. But I mean, hell, I went back in the day, they used to say, what was the most amount of people you ever wrestled in front of? What was the least? You know what everyone's answer is? 0. And I learned a valuable lesson, how important the fans are to me. On my 50th birthday, I wrestled Rich Swann. And when I tell you, for the first time in my career since I started, I blew up. I had no more wind in my tank. And I seriously went to the mirror and I was like, it's over, man. This has never happened to you. I was legit pinned. I could not kick out. I had nothing left. And I was like, you gotta announce your retirement. And I don't want to do it during the pandemic, blah, 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 blah. And I seriously sat back and I was just like, what is wrong with me? Like, you have self-doubt. It can really get to you. And then I realized it. I was like, there was no fans there. The fans rooting for me to get up, like I've said earlier, is real. And I said, I'll tell you all this. Tommy Dreamer will never let the fans down. That night when I was wrestling Rich, I had nobody to cheer for me. And Tom Laughlin was like, he kind of like, dude, you can't do this anymore. And I'm in an empty arena. And I realized, the comeback, because there's times when I am still winded and I'll just be like, big breath in. And I'll be like, come on, Dreamer, you got to do this, because I can't let them down. And it was such a mind blown thing for me. And it's like, again, I will go out there. I will bust my butt for the fans, because they have always cheered for me. If I turn heel ever, forget about it. You're all screwed. But besides that.
Our mission is clear.
What we fight for is truly righteous.
The best athletes in the entire world are on your screen right now.
This is Impact Wrestling.
We are talking with Tommy Dreamer. We are on the build-up to Impact Wrestling Rebellion. You can witness what is going to be an amazing night of Impact Wrestling action right now. You can head online, fight.tv, and you can order this event. It is going to be off the charts. I mean, let's get to this, Tommy. I mean, you mentioned your amazing career. You've been everywhere. It started also back in ECW, where you met Bully Ray. went through TNA, now Impact Wrestling. This feud has intensified amongst yourselves over the past couple of months, spilling out to not only the wrestling ring, but obviously the radio show that these both hosts, Busted Open. It led to one heck of a match at Sacrifice last month. I think, to be honest, my 35 years of watching wrestling, it has to be one of the most brutal matches I've seen. I mean, you used a cheese grater on a man's skull. And had it not been for the good hands getting involved in that match, you would have had your hand raised in victory. And you mentioned before, the word violence can have some negative connotations. Violence sometimes, however, is the only thing we can do to seek retribution, to seek justice. What can we actually expect heading into Rebellion? Because as it stands right now, Bully has his 5 members. Checking ImpactWrestling.com right now, we know we can only see 4 members of Team Dreamer just now. Out of the 4 members you currently have, how did you go about picking those individuals? How do you find people that are as passionate and as dedicated as yourself in that Impact Wrestling locker room?
Well, I'll tell you who the 5th person is. It's Bhupinder.
Fantastic. 5 and 5. We've got those names.
Here's how I picked it. I looked at a locker room, and it's I listen, man. I've helped employ people in this industry. I've helped employ people in Impact Wrestling. I've also looked around, and I looked at like who needs this / who wants it. Impact Wrestling, it's a 2-hour television show, but if you really break down a 2-hour television show, it's an 1 hour and 38 minutes of TV time because of commercials. And there's people fighting for you. You need to be on television. You want to fight for that spot. Somebody like Yuya. Yuya has moved from Japan to the United States to become a better pro wrestler. Doesn't speak English very, very well, but think of that. And he's young. He's on his, what they call his, Japan excursion. We in Impact Wrestling, they had it with Okada. They had it with Tanahashi. They all came through the system. And at times for both of them, the ball was dropped. I look at Yuya and I think I look at Yuya like how a Mick Foley looked at me, or a Terry Funk, or even a Paul Heyman looked at me. This kid's got it. This kid's going to be a massive star in hopefully the States, or when he goes back to Japan. And he's really good. And how will he get more television time? How will I be able to show the world how good he is? I'm going to make him my partner. Another guy that I've praised forever is Bhupinder. Most people don't realize when Bhupinder debuted in Impact Wrestling, it was like his 9th ever match, and it was on television. He had a ladder match with Brian Myers for the title. I want to say he didn't even have 20 matches. And I saw a person that everybody was cheering for and rooting on when he's inexperienced, but in the back, he is one of the nicest guys and just wants to learn. And from a language barrier, he's worked his ass off to better his English. And he's hungry. And dude, he's also tough. He's an amateur boxer. He's an amateur wrestler. People don't really know his story. And another guy who moved from another country to come to follow their dream. Killer Kelly, I think more so because she's crazy like me, and in a good way. Her name is Killer. Why would you not want to have a killer in there? Because look who's on the other side, Masha Slamovich. And Masha is tough. Masha's the one who broke Mickey's ribs with a kick. She broke 4 or 2 of Mickey's rib caps with a kick. She's a real fighter. And Kazarian, he hates Bubba pretty much as I do. They've had a long history as well. And that's kind of why I picked the team. But you're going to war. And I told them, hey, guys, this may mess you up. This may help you in your career. This is a step forward, but there are ramifications. And they know going in what these ramifications are. I mean, hey, you're going to go to the ring with a weapon. That means so is your opponent. And you might get hurt. And everyone's just like, Cool. No problem. Thank you for picking me. It's kind of how you want to go.
It is going to be something incredible. Team Bully taking on Team Dreamer. You can see it at Impact Wrestling Rebellion. You can order it right now. Fight.tv. Tommy, I know where time is against us, my friend, but there's one last thing I would love to do, if you could indulge me. And
Sure.
that is a quick round of the name game. I'm going to give you the names of 5 Impact Wrestling superstars. I would like you to say the first thing that jumps into your head. Are you up for this?
Yes, sir. I love this stuff.
Okay, right, let's go. Name number 1, Eddie Edwards.
One of the best.
Taylor Wilde.
First person I hired, one of the first persons I hired when I had the job in WWE. An amazing individual, one of the best female wrestlers at all time that doesn't get enough love for how good she is in the ring.
Joe Hendry.
I believe in Joe Hendry. Exactly.
Gia Miller. Mean Gia Miller.
Mean Gia Miller. I gave her that name. I would love to see her wrestle more.
Hmm.
She's a very talented young lady and takes whatever spot has been given to her, and she's a star that shines. Am I supposed to answer these in one word? That's very hard for me to do, if you could tell.
Hey, it's all good.
I'm a radio broadcaster as well, sir.
And the final name, the voice of Impact Wrestling, Tom Hannifan.
Become very, very close with Tom Hannifan, and I think he's added to Impact so much. He's the voice of us, and he tells our stories, and I really enjoy working with him. He's a very, very good guy, and I think we're seeing the best of Tom that we've ever seen his entire career, and he's so friggin' appreciative of it.
That is the name game with Tommy Dreamer. The Stars of Impact Wrestling return to pay-per-view and internationally on Fight TV, live from the Rebel Entertainment Complex in Toronto for Impact Wrestling Rebellion, where you can witness Tommy and Team Dreamer taking on Team Bully. And remember, you can catch brand new Impact Wrestling each and every week here in the UK on DAZN, that's DAZN.com, on Impact Plus, and on YouTube for Ultimate Insiders. Tommy, good luck, my friend. I look forward to seeing what happens at Rebellion.
Thank you, and a pleasure talking with you.